Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with 16 Russian musical masterpieces I couldn't live without. Now, this bit of this particular Music You Can't Live Without series was suggested by a viewer that we do lists based on nationalities. And I'm really of two minds about that because on the one hand, I like the idea. I like having to make these choices, to really think about what pieces of music we care about the most. And we need to impose constraints on our selection, and nationality is a very good constraint. The problem is that you wind up with geopolitical hoo-ha nonsense. You know, I mean, if you're going to do Germany, do you include Austria? If you're going to do Russia, do you include the republics? Do you include Ukraine? I mean, I am not going to get obsessed about that. I'm telling you right now, from the start, I already have issues with all these people who claim Bruckner wasn't German, he was Austrian. It's bullshit. He was a German symphonist. He spoke German. His culture was German. His musical conception of everything was German. And yes, he was Austrian, as in I'm from Connecticut and the United States. It's a stupid distinction to have to make. And I am not going to get obsessed with the politics of it, and I don't want to hear it from any of you for any reason, particularly when we're talking about composers in countries whose borders changed rather frequently over the centuries or so that we're talking about them. Remember, for a while, Poland didn't even exist. So, we can now do Poland as Poland, but I'm just saying, we cannot allow musical culture to be confused with political culture. And so I will be focusing on musical culture, the musical culture in which the composer worked. That's what they were. And that's the end of that conversation. So we're starting with Russia. 16 Russian musical masterpieces I couldn't live without. As usual, I have decided to limit myself to one work per composer because it allows me to list more composers who have works that I adore. But you are not so limited. Just limit yourself to 16 because that's really the fun, to really have to think about it. I'll show you how that worked. It's a moment here where I think it's really quite telling. But there are, of course, a bazillion wonderful pieces of music by Russian composers. And here are my 16 that I can't live without. Glinka, his Spanish Overture number 1, the Jota Aragonesa. Da 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 ya da 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 da. Oh, it has so much that Russian composers later did. There's the Spanish thing, right? He did the Spanish thing. I mean, Russian composers did Spanish things and other country things. But more than that, there's the brilliant orchestration and that melodic and rhythmic energy that Glinka really had and that so many other composers acquired similarly. It's a fantastic work. It was written like the 1840s or early 50s. And for its period, it's quite stunning in terms of its orchestral mastery and melodic fecundity. So yeah, it's a great work. Next, Tchaikovsky. Oh, of course. What are you going to pick by Tchaikovsky? Well, there is one iconic work by Tchaikovsky that I think encompasses everything that he was about, and that's Swan Lake. I know that he likes Sleeping Beauty and the Nutcracker better. Swan Lake had edition issues, but everything that makes his music so fresh and gorgeous, the wonderful tunes, that powerful string writing, the romantic sensuousness, the emotional hysteria, the noise and vulgarity and big moments. Oh, it's all in there. It's just tremendous. And if you've got Swan Lake, you really have Tchaikovsky in a nutshell. A very big nutshell, I might add. Rimsky-Korsakov. Well, it was a struggle, a choice between an opera and orchestral work. But at the end, I went for the obvious. I went for Scheherazade, just because it's so great, and because I love it, and I've loved it since I was like 3. I mean, I had one of those children's records, that was supposed to get kids into classical music. My mother bought, and one of them was Scheherazade with a narrator. You put it on, it went da 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 ba ba ba, and then this woman came in and said, "Hi, my name is Scheherazade." It was just a stupid thing. I actually liked the regular version a lot better pretty damn quickly, I might say. But oh yes, you've got to have Scheherazade. I did anyway. Mussorgsky, Boris Godunov. First of all, it's just an incredible opera. Second of all, it's an incredible historical opera. Thirdly, it's an incredible historical opera with incredible music. And I don't care which version you listen to, but you've got to have Boris Godunov. Again, you could have picked like pictures in an exhibition, but no, this is his masterpiece, and it's absolutely one of the great 19th century operas, one of the great nationalist operas, and I just love the thing. It's phenomenal. Borodin, Symphony No. 2. Where has this symphony gone? It's one of the great Russian Romantic symphonies. It's like 25 minutes long, 26 minutes long. It's just an orgy of color and melody, and nobody plays it. Nobody. I mean, the last time I heard it, I played it. I played it in a reading rehearsal at the 92nd Street Y in Manhattan, and it was years ago. I just don't understand why people don't do it frequently anymore. It's so, so beautiful. But, there you have it. So Borodin Symphony No. 2 is just one of the great ones. Then we have Glazunov, Stenka Razin, the tone poem. I love this tone poem. I mean, it's based on the Volga boat song, da, 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 bum, 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 ba, da. So you know the tune. And it's got healthy swats on the tam-tam and rippling harps. And it's just delicious. Absolutely marvelous. It really deserves to be popular. I mean, really popular. People talk about like the Liszt tone poems and all that. Well, Glazunov wrote a whole pile of them, and they're just marvelous. So I definitely want Stenka Razin on my list. And then the Kalinnikov First Symphony. He wrote 2 symphonies, then he dropped dead. He died very young. Another work, we've talked about this piece before. I mean, there's no reason in the world why these symphonies shouldn't be incredibly popular. The slow movement is absolutely exquisite. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous piece of writing that would grace any concert program. And, I've never seen it programmed at all. I don't get it. It's a masterpiece. It's fabulous. And, it really is not because it's off the beaten path that I choose it. It could really become one of your favorite Russian symphonies. It deserves that kind of attention. Then, of course, there is Stravinsky. I picked Les Noces. I picked Les Noces because I haven't put it, I don't think, on any other lists yet. I may have, but, I don't know. But it's one of his greatest works, and it's one of his most Russian works. It's a Russian wedding based on folk music from, Russian wedding folk things, but arranged in the most Stravinsky possible way of rhythmic craziness for 4 pianos and percussion. It's an extraordinary work. And it doesn't get played a lot, of course, because you need a choir and soloists and 4 pianos and percussion. It's a weird ensemble. It's a ballet. It doesn't even get danced that often, I don't think, anymore. It's really a concert work, and for concerts that never happen. So I really felt it has to be on there because it's an extraordinarily original masterpiece. And it also gave Carl Orff his entire career, because everything he wrote afterwards, from Carmina Burana on, originated in this piece. So you heard it at the beginning. It's a remarkable achievement. Rachmaninoff, The Bells. I think that The Bells is his major masterpiece, along with the symphonic dances. It's not the piano concertos. It's not the symphonies. Well, The Bells is a symphony. It's a choral symphony based on the Edgar Allan Poe poem. And, was it perfect for Rachmaninoff, because his music is saturated with sounds of bells and death, because it ends with the funeral bells and the Dies Irae and all those things that Rachmaninoff loved to do. They're all in this piece. So The Bells is just, it's wonderful. I could sing the whole thing. You want me to? No, it's okay. I promise I won't. Shostakovich. Here is where I think the one composer to a work thing really helped. There will be some countries where I'll do 16 works because I have the liberty, because I can't think of 16 composers, major composers, great composers. So I really can't live without. Remember, this is music you can't live without. It's not about just coming up with a list of 16 that nobody's ever heard of. It's about music that you really will go to the mat for. And when I put it that way, my Shostakovich selection has to be his Piano Trio No. 2. It's not a symphony. It's not a string quartet. It's not anything else by him, which is kind of a shock. Shocked me. But when I finally tried to boil down the things that I value most in him, his unflinching humanity and willingness to look death and despair straight in the face and come out on the other side, this is the piece that does it for me. It's haunting and powerful and emotionally wrenching, but ultimately, when it ultimately wins over to an uneasy piece, it's just one of the greatest experiences in all of music. I can't love it more than I do. Balakirev, Islamey. This was, supposed to be the most difficult piece of piano music in the universe before Ravel wrote Gaspard de la Nuit, which he wanted to be tougher than Islamey. I'm talking about the piano original. There are orchestrations by various people, which are fun and quite enjoyable, but it's really a tone poem for piano of exceptional virtuosity and wonderful color and Orientalist shading. And again, it's another work, it doesn't get the attention it deserves because people don't really know how to program it, I think. I mean, it's not that long. It's like 12 minutes long. It would be perfect on just about any piano program. But for some reason, pianists don't really think about it anymore. We're at a period where the discography has grown beyond belief with all kinds of unusual and interesting repertoire. But concert life is becoming increasingly narrow, increasingly limited, and increasingly limited to a handful of big, long, supposedly sublime major works. The Goldberg Variations, the Hammerklavier Sonata, a couple of things by Chopin. You do that and the usual Schumann things, the usual repertory items. It's really kind of disheartening because there was a lot of tremendously beautiful, colorful music written at the end of the 19th century and getting performed by great artists that just doesn't get much attention anymore. Islamey is one of those pieces. I just loved it from the beginning. Prokofiev, Piano Concerto No. 2. My absolute favorite piece by Prokofiev. My offering to Razin is the only work by Prokofiev I would choose if I had to choose only one. It's just so much fun. I mean, it's more fun than anyone has any right to have. It's just thrillingly, enjoyably fun. And we've talked about it also quite a bit here, so I don't need to go into it any further. Schchedrin, the Carmen Ballet, a.k.a. the Carmen Suite, for heap loads of strings and percussion. I mean, first of all, I can't live without Carmen. That may be on the French list. It wouldn't surprise me if it made it. The tunes are just so fabulous. So any arrangement of them is going to be wonderful. But this particular arrangement is in the great tradition of Russian ballet. He wrote it for his wife, the prima ballerina at the Bolshoi, Maya Plisetskaya. And wow, what an extravagant masterpiece it really is. It's full of ingenuity and color and cleverness and danceable stuff. And I just adore it. Then we've got Schnittke, his Faust cantata. Oh, I love the Faust cantata. The Faust cantata is a piece of Halloween music. It is scary and it's ridiculous. And the solo with chorus where Faust gets dismembered by Mephistopheles, by the devil or whatever evil forces are at work, is just juicy and fantastic. It's got creepy organ music and it's just a wonderfully spooky and thrilling piece of vocal writing. And it gets very little attention. There's only one recording that's worth hearing of it, the revised large ensemble version of it, which is on BIS. And it's fantastic. Leif Segerstam's conducting, actually. An amazing piece, and you really need to hear it if you don't know it. It's so much fun. Then Khachaturian. Yes, Khachaturian. You see, I'm not doing a separate Armenia list. And so Khachaturian, Spartacus. I just love listening to Spartacus. I mean, the whole thing. The Russian ballet tradition is marvelous. There's a lot of really, really good, danceable, tuneful, nationalistic or socialist realist. I don't care, whatever you want to call it. There's just tons of fun music in there. It's great to listen to in your car. It has It has the Adagio of Spartacus and Phrygia, the dance with crotalems, and all these, so many numbers that you'll recognize when you hear them, but you don't know where they're from. It's just a terrific ballet. And it's a good story, actually. It was supposed to represent in socialist realist terms the revolt of the proletariat and whatnot, but you don't have to take it that way. I mean, it was a very good Hollywood blockbuster of a movie, right? With a soundtrack by, who did the soundtrack? Alex North. So, if Alex North could do it, then so could Khachaturian. And they're both wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. And then finally, Kapustin, the great discovery of the past decade or so coming out of Russia. Now, Kapustin was Ukrainian. And like I said, I do not want to get into the, political, craziness of the whole thing. Kapustin spent his whole career, or most of his career, in Moscow. Working in Moscow, living in Moscow, writing music in Moscow. And so, as far as I'm concerned, culturally speaking, he's a Russian composer. And his fifth piano concerto is just dynamite. It's notated jazz is what his style is. We've talked about it before. And it's brilliant, and it's exciting, and it's fresh, and it's amazing. Absolutely amazing. I cannot live without some Kapustin on any list of major, Russian composers. And if, the fact that he was Ukrainian irks, let it irk the Russians. It's fine. However you want to slice it. It's just terrific music. Absolutely terrific music. And I delight in hearing it. So there you have it. My 16 Russian musical masterpieces that I couldn't live without. Let me have yours. Like I said, feel free to duplicate composers. Feel free to share stuff that I have, because the value in these lists is for people who don't know the music. If they see the same works coming up over and over again, then yeah, maybe there's something there. They'll know what the popular stuff is. They'll know what the unusual stuff is. It's all useful information. So thank you so much for participating. Take care and keep on listening. Yes, keep on listening and take care.